Okay. I got some banter to get us rolling here.
Is it live?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
It's a lot.
Banter. We
Yes.
haven't done that in a while.
It's a little off topic, so we're going to have to really stay on
Okay,
pace.
Matt. We're tight on time, too. So
Don't worry. We'll do
let's
this.
try. Okay.
This is going to be a fast episode, everyone.
Okay.
Okay. So I was thinking about the term fundamentals. And let me give you some context for this. You ready?
Sorry, I had a bad joke with it, so I'm not going to say it.
Okay.
Let's control. Okay.
Okay. So a lot of sports will be like, oh, you got to master the fundamentals. It's all about the fundamentals. That team has better fundamentals.
Yeah.
So people say this all the time about sports.
Yep.
And I was thinking, in jiu-jitsu, what are the fundamentals? Because like in wrestling, one of the fundamentals is your stance.
Yeah.
And in football, actually, I have no clue what the fundamentals are. I don't know anything about football.
Catch the ball.
Blocking and tackling? I don't know. But like seriously, in jiu-jitsu, I have some thoughts on it.
Yep.
But I was curious, what do you think? Has anybody defined the fundamentals outside of what Rob has done?
I remember someone was discussing that as far as like with leg locks or even, someone was mentioning like, let's say a buggy choke, and they were like, well, that's like an advanced move. And someone's, how do you define an advanced move?
Yeah, that's true.
Why is something advanced? It's like you could teach someone mechanically the move right there. Now it's what makes it advanced.
Yeah.
So I think I liken fundamentals to, I've always given like the boxing analogy when it comes to understanding jiu-jitsu, because in the beginning you might learn I'm going to the same terminology. It's hard with boxing because there's like a jab and a cross. There's only so many like little direct pathways with your arms.
But like head movement.
Yeah. But I was saying that because
footwork,
once you understand the singularity stuff, then you start doing
base.
things where you're comboing things together. You're adding like feints, and you're doing more like tactic strategy type stuff.
What are the fundamentals though? So even in boxing right there, we don't know very much about boxing, though, so we're probably out of our depth.
I think it goes to like Rob's point of like alignment, structure, base, and maybe it would have to be like drills that kind of accentuate those things. You know,
I'm saying fundamentals, not in a like drilling sequence. I'm saying if you're in
fundamental
basketball, if you're
techniques,
really good at shooting 3-pointers and you're really good at shooting and dribbling, right? Like those would be, I think, the fundamentals. You can do a good layup.
Would fundamentals be like what we talked about, like the high percentage techniques or things like arm locks, triangle chokes? Are those like fundamental movements?
I think the alignment definitely fits into this framework. Like having base, having posture, and having proper structure is for sure the fundamentals.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think if there's anything more than that.
Because there's super common things like not giving your back.
Oh, okay. I think that's a good one.
This is what I'm saying.
Yeah, don't turn away from your opponent.
But that's like fundamental like strategies, like big core strategies. Don't have your arms and limbs out super wide.
Oh, yeah. Don't let them control your head, wrists, or ankles.
So maybe it's like the whole 80% rule, and then 20% you can break it once you understand the rules. Like, here's how you can break the rules. Like, you can give your back with turtle as long as limbs are on the inside. You can stand up. Like,
still not a great idea, though.
I know. I'm just saying, if you say the core tenets or principles of jiu-jitsu as like a foundational base,
I think we're going to have to think on this a little bit.
Welcome to season 3 next
year. Yeah. Fundamentals.
That'd be cool. The foundations of jiu-jitsu as a season.
I actually thought about that with getting some folks on that have been in the game for a long time too, and see
get their perspective.
How things have changed over time.
That's super deep. I like that. I just don't like when people say, "Oh, here's a funnel thing: a scissor sweep from guard." Fundamental. And then that's so weird. You have to
that's
get
just
your
a
hips
move.
out. You gotta get your knees in. So what's the difference between that and a buggy choke? Or like people would say, like leg locks aren't fundamental. It's
fundamental to me.
But just they're fun.
Oh, I guess double trouble would be a fundamental.
But that goes back to the Rob type thing.
Yep, that's what I'm saying. The fundamentals are conceptual. They apply all the time.
So you're saying fundamentals with jiu-jitsu would be more conceptual?
Yes.
And this is what I just went back with Rob. I was saying like I think Rob hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
Like those are fun. It's like fundamental physics type things.
Not giving up your back, not giving up inside position. I think those would be fundamentals too.
So fundamental concepts, fundamental strategies.
I think it's just if you want to be good at this, you have to almost always be doing this.
Would never give like rules.
I think they're just like, if you want to be successful, this is the base of the pyramid. No matter what technique you do, no matter like what you're trying to accomplish, you need to make sure you don't give up your neck, your wrists, your ankles, your inside. Don't let them touch you. Yeah. But seriously, don't give up your base. Don't give up your posture. Don't give up your structure. Those are, because like I try to win hypothetically by taking away a person's base posture and structure. Everything that we do is trying to take away their base
Well,
posture
and
and
I
structure.
think going over those concepts, I think it's best to demonstrate those concepts in different situations. Because we talked about that before with Rob with the score.
Yes.
So like you're teaching people how to keep score throughout a match, of those kind of things. But there are some things that's with like elbows. Don't let your elbow come across the center line. Don't get your elbows out. But those are like core strategy type things. Like you said with posture or whatever. Like here's some core things that will get you to lose many times.
Yeah, doing the opposite. Yeah,
Like
anyways.
control inside space or something like that. Like there are some.
I think we could come up with a list of these things at some point, and it would actually be cool to analyze our training underneath that, guys, and go, are we breaking the fundamentals? And then if the only thing you do is just not break your fundamentals,
Yeah.
what is the outcome? Do you end up being very good at
I think
jiu-jitsu?
that's where it gets like the ecological approach where people will do things where it's like you give them a task. So get to their knees or get to their ankles. But the problem is like it's one of those things where it's like a desert island where, I figured this out over a year of practice. Like some core tactics and structures. I don't want to push my arms out. I don't want it like that's what I'm saying. I shouldn't say it's fundamental techniques, but it's like fundamental mindsets or strategies, I would say.
I think
themes, better way. Themes.
Concepts. I think concepts is what it comes down to. Because, for instance, don't let them grab your head. That I cannot think of a time. There's only one time I can think of that doesn't hold true, and it's a risky thing.
Yeah.
If you're trying to get
So
a
what
ham
you're saying,
sandwich
that's
on
like
somebody.
the whole like 80-20% type of thing.
Yeah.
Like there are some things you can trick maybe more advanced players, but it's like for the core essence of a brand new person. I think that's like most sports. Once you learn the rules, you can find ways to break the rules, but you're still keeping core to the main strategies.
Yeah. Okay. That'll be a great topic in the future for us to discuss
That's
further.
interesting. Now my brain's going with that.
So today's topic, everyone, this is our last episode in our jiu-jitsu and like video game / tabletop series, season 2. And today we're talking about a cool way to set goals in jiu-jitsu that I came up with from playing God of War.
This is like your game.
Love God of
Matt
War.
has referenced God of War many times.
I love God of War so much. God of War 4 and 5, to be specific. The earlier ones were cool, but they're not even, to me, they're not even in the same universe as, of quality and story and gameplay as 4 and 5.
I would say like June, just start with the beard grow and then just shave
my head.
and then go for Kratos for Halloween.
I have to get infinitely more jacked to pull that off. I'm going to need all the steroids. I'm going to need.
You can do that.
Dude, I'm not even close. Levi, we lift one day a week. I'm not pulling off a Kratos look.
All the protein.
But anyways, so one of my favorite video games. I think the gameplay's fantastic. It has great principles in it. It's super fast. By the way, if you're not playing on Give Me God of War mode, you should turn it up to that.
So how many God of War games are there?
5, I think.
5.
I actually know there's more because there's some for the PSP.
I don't think I really played the
and whatnot.
core ones
but
before.
Like, the main ones were like God of War 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
And those were more like hack and slashy, higher up camera view, things like that.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
But 4 and 5 are much more like Zelda view, is what I would consider it, like adventure game view.
Why is the newer one or the second newest one just called God of War? Is the older ones not called God of War?
No, they are. I think they just because it was a kind of a reboot, maybe.
God of War.
But the idea that I got, so in the Valhalla expansion, which is on God of War 5, it's free if you have the game, which I thought was super cool.
Mm-hmm.
I beat one round of it. I haven't played. I don't want to give any spoilers. I didn't keep going after I beat one round of that, just because at the time I was doing some other games. But that was super fun. But the way the expansion works is there's this thing called labors in it, where you have tasks you need to complete to essentially get that type of currency that the expansion uses, and it runs in this like cyclical fashion where you keep running over and over again, but the map keeps changing and your labors keep changing. And the labors will be requiring you to use a specific tool in a specific way. Like you have this tool that can do this specific attack. And so the funny thing is, as you're going through it, it's actually training you to be better at the game if you actually do the labors, which God of War has a really neat mechanic to it, where if you actually sit down and figure out how the game is played, like on God of War 4, you can step into 5 being radically better at the game. So I chickened out, and when I played 5 for the first time, I played on the second hardest difficulty, not Gimme God of War mode. I should have just done that because I just chewed through the game. I don't think there was any boss that I was like, took me more than like either one try or a few tries. And that's not because I'm this amazing video gamer. I'm not. It's just because I've played the game a lot. And God of War 4, I played a ton. I did beat it on Gimme God of War mode. And I learned the principles of the game. And that allows you to play the game a little bit better.
Don't people talk about that with like Dark Souls? Have you ever played Dark Souls?
Yep.
Where it's
Dark
like
Souls 3, Elden
it's
Ring.
more like big concepts that they do versus if you played. I always thought it was funny because the way that like a Dark Souls game is played, I'm sorry, it's slightly off topic, but it's like you get faced with this big boss right away that you don't get any strong tutorial, and it's like you figure it out. And then if you're able to beat them, then you can go play the rest of the game. And I thought, can you imagine if Jiu-Jitsu was like that? Where it's like you just come in, it's just you figuring out and see how good you get.
I think in some ways it is sometimes.
Yeah, but maybe that's similar at that point.
I think it is very similar.
But it's sort
no
of
one's
like
going to spoon feed you everything you need.
Yeah. I think, though, sometimes you learn a lot better when you're not fed everything all at once.
Oh, yeah.
Like memory retention works so much better. If you got burned a couple times, Kit Dale was always good with that. He always would say he would teach a technique or concept and leave out like 1 or 2 big details and let people drill and go, what are you guys running into? And then they would like interact with it, and then you give them how to overcome it. Then they appreciate it because they actually ran into that obstacle versus going, all right, here's what you're going to do, and here's the obstacles you're going to see, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, all right. Like, as a new person, you're like, that's fine. But if you actually physically feel like I can't do it unless I overcome this obstacle, then it's more of a memory retainer at that point.
I got a cool idea for a game we can play in here.
Okay.
What if we set up the beginning of a drill, and let's just take the weave pass we were working yesterday.
Yeah.
Where we give everyone, we just say, here's this starting position. How do you get your bottom leg out? And that's literally the drill. Yeah. Bottom person, don't let them get their leg out. Top person, get your leg out. That's what you have to do. And then reconvene and go, so what did everybody figure out? And then you go, okay, next step. We're going to pin the bottom wrist. Like, kind of thing. And that'd be interesting to do this. And then by the end of the class, you've learned one technique, but you understand why it works on like multiple levels.
Yeah.
This would take some work, but I think we should build this sometime.
Sometimes I thought of that with class formats where you do the drill first and then you run into ways like Danaher would do. I think he would go through like a drill technique, and then based on what he saw in class as people were doing it, he would like fix it in a way. Like if everyone was posting their hand out or something weird like that, he'd be like, all right, I'm seeing a lot of people post their hand out, and here's how we're going to stop this. Versus like just doing a fix, but it doesn't seem like anyone's running into the issue.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Or say do a drill, let's say a seated guard where you're going for body connections. You could go, okay, what's everyone running into? What's difficult? And then as the instructor or teacher with the experience, you give a specific thing, and then maybe you go through the drill again. You don't drill, you just go through like the drill and add that layer onto it. Maybe go slow for a couple techniques of it, and then just ramp it up again. Because I'm thinking of like the God of War stuff. It's still live combat, right? Like, they don't have like a speed thing. It's
if you play in Gimme God of War mode, there's like a aggression damage kind of thing.
Can I spoil a little bit of how that Valhalla works?
Wait.
Just the structure of it? And I might be wrong.
So
spoilers if you don't want major reveals right now. But I thought it was like a pyramid thing. If you die at a second or third, you have to start all the way over in the beginning.
You have to start over every single time.
I played it a couple times.
I played through the whole thing once.
Of course. God. Whew. It makes me sweat thinking about that.
Oh, yeah. It's fun, though.
Dude.
You see, that game you have to be like in shape for, to be like, if I pick it up right now, I'll just get my butt kicked. But give me like a week or two, and I'll like, of like dedicated playing, and I'll finally feel like I could do it.
Interesting, though, because like, you get good at that first little encounter, and then I would imagine by you dying, you could just start blasting through to that like final bit.
Oh yeah, you get faster and faster.
Well, because I'm sure you understand like, here's this core thing I need to do.
Yeah.
With this low level dude, and then the second thing is here's the core thing for that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you get really good at specifically beating those specific targets, which is why the labor system is cool. So I should probably tell everybody, because this can be a fast episode. Levi and I were jaw jacking here, and we're going to be running into class time.
Nah, we're good.
The way that I've been trying to structure some goals is using this labor philosophy where I have one thing I'm trying to accomplish X amount of times, and every class I try to check off some of those things. So right now I've got 3 labors, and I think I need to bring it down to 1 or 2 because it is hard to keep track of that many and remember what you did. So for instance, one of mine is like knee cut passing. I wanted to get 20 knee cuts. So that's my labor. I'm going to try to get 20 knee cuts. And then in a like legit practice, it could be drilling too. If it's like someone you're like radically more experienced than, I'm counting them more. If you got 5, it's 1 kind of thing. Like you're trying to tailor it. And it's a neat idea because you focus on it, you get better at it, and then it's only 20. So you could always come back to it some other day or you go to your next one. So that's something I am playing around with. I think I'm going to do one for the weave pass that we've been working on too.
Sorry, I was just joking to myself because I was like, can you imagine if each person I had in here, we went through this seems like a Matt thing too, like a whole system of scoring people's abilities, like your ability to retain guard, your ability to pass guard, or whatever, so that when you go against someone, you're like, oh, you're a level 2 guard retainer or something like that. I don't know. Because I think it's like that.
Sounds very Pokemon-y.
Yeah, but it's like a rating system of what skill level you're going at. Because like you said, like someone that I feel that I'm a little bit more experienced than, like how could you give a marker for yourself for the labors? You know what I'm saying? Like,
I think,
would that have to come with just experience of time? Like I think personally, just if you're rolling in general with people, like you have to ask yourself, how easy is this for me to accomplish this task? Could I pass someone's guard within 5 seconds?
I have a cool way to think about it.
Yeah.
If you felt you earned it, you earned it.
If you felt like you earned it, you earned it.
Yeah, because you know when you're lying
That
to
doesn't
yourself.
seem very tactical, Matt.
No, I'm down with the feels.
When you earned it, you earned it.
When you earned it.
Yeah, I think it's just sometimes a time thing. If it takes you 2 or 3 seconds versus it takes you like 15, 20 seconds, like that seems like a good measurement at that point if it feels like you're struggling. And like I said, don't worry about technical experience because you get people who are younger than you, people who are bigger than you.
Oh, yeah.
So if you have something where it's just time, you can at least say, how long did that take for me to get past someone's guard? Because you get guys like Hunter who are small, might be smaller in general, but you're never going to, it's going to be super difficult to pass his legs.
Yeah.
I guess that's what I was saying with you for like your labors. Like, how would you, if someone was super difficult with one, would you consider that be like, I don't know. Imagine if like you passed my guard and then that could count as 5 points or something.
No, it's 1.
Why is that?
Because
I feel insulted.
It's 1. Everyone, it's 1.
That sounds like a John Wick thing. Like
it's
everything's 1 coin.
It's 1 or less.
1 or less.
Yep. If you pulled it off, it's 1.
Okay.
But it'd be less if it's like, hey, this person's second day. It's like, yeah, dude, you're going to get it. Like, you didn't earn it. You didn't earn it. Unless this person's like a crazy white belt and they're like flailing all over the place and they're pushing you really hard, then I might consider one of those because I'd be like, whoa, I haven't encountered this scenario. Does my pass hold up to spazziness? Because there is some moves in jiu-jitsu that I think work because we're used to them working and you're used to playing the game with somebody and that person's used to receiving that style of game.
Yeah.
Versus there's some things where if someone's just like a strong, athletic, new to jiu-jitsu, don't know what they're doing, there's some moves that aren't going to work that great because there's some that do, right?
Yeah.
You get a rear naked choke on anyone, done. That is like the master move.
Yeah.
But if you get like an omoplata on somebody, it's, I don't know. And I'm also not good at omoplatas, but
sure.
That one seems like a little crazier where someone has to be playing the game versus if they start ripping out of it and stuff. Like somebody could hypothetically with full abandon to their joints, just rip out of an omoplata sometimes.
So I feel like
in no gi, I say in gi, it's a different game.
For your labors, it could count as 1 point if you feel like you've earned it.
Yes.
So I think that's a good base point. If you feel like it was well earned and that you give yourself a point for that.
If you forget how many you did that day, it all counts as, the whole day counts as 1.
Do you feel like you want very specific points of focuses with your labors, for example, instead of playing the whole game? Like you can say, I have guard passing labors where it's if I could do 100 guard passes, like versus playing the whole game. Because a lot of times here in theory, we'll do drills where we'll focus on just one element of the game.
I'm doing one element because that's how it's constructed in God of War. Because it's like this weapon, this attack.
You're counting that as far as if you do a live match with someone?
If I do,
it's your element that you're focusing on.
yep.
Okay.
If I do a live match, and here's the thing, I actually been not doing a ton of live matches lately.
Yeah.
I've been doing a lot more just passing
I was
because
just talking with a newer
I'm
person about that, saying I think a lot of people, once they understand how the framework happens, a lot of people start focusing on more spending their time specific things versus playing the whole game.
yeah. There's no reason for me to. There is a reason because like you do still need to be like sharp on it, and you're like, there's things I notice I'm missing when I'm like, I haven't been attacking very much. Like
Sure.
I haven't been getting a lot of subs, but because I haven't been going for a lot of subs. But there's also a point where it's just, dude, you got to keep that sharp because I do feel like I'm getting. If I had to go to a tournament tomorrow, I'd be like, ooh, okay, looks like I need to do rear naked chokes,
Maybe
and
it's
that's all I'm doing.
maybe
You
it's a
know,
trade off, like every 8 of them you do one live session kind of thing.
mm,
Something where it gets rotated in every so many like labor focuses, something like that. But I like the focus because people always talk about with jiu-jitsu of you should have a focus and you should have a thing. But it's like, how do you know when it's time to focus on something else? Like how do you know when it's like,
when you
okay,
get
I'm good
when
at
you get 20 of them.
so like,
I
but
don't
having
know.
a number like that, because I think with God of War, do they have a number of labors like doing 100?
It'll be like 15 of this, 20 of that, 10
Yeah.
of this. It depends on the thing.
Yeah.
But here's my thoughts on the number. I picked 20 randomly at first. But then as I've been playing the game, the labor game a little bit, I've noticed that 20 seems to be a good amount because it's enough to keep you engaged. It's enough that you're making progress. But if I had 100, I feel like I would go, I don't know what's going to be the next step until you see it. Like in jujitsu, that's the tricky part is a mistake I made. And actually, we did a podcast on this a while ago, but like goal setting for the whole year, I planned out my whole year on what my focuses were going to be. But the problem is when you get to a checkpoint in your development, you don't know, you know what your next step needs to be. Like
Mhm.
my bottom game is atrocious. My next step should be to work on my bottom game.
Sure.
But right now I'm sticking with guard passing because I want to I think it's important to stick with it past the point where you're interested and is super excited about sticking with it because that's where like the real connections probably happen.
I agree. Yeah.
You know? So that's where I'm just like, I am sticking with it. And even if I keep getting subbed or whatever it be, like today, I'm going to be trying that weave pass that we were working yesterday.
Mhm.
I'm going to try it 100 times if I can get away with it, you know?
Yeah.
If my partner will,
I
you know,
think
drill with me.
I think it's definitely important if people are like curious, like Matt, I don't know what to focus my labors on. I think it's good just to set like a generalized path that if everything went well in a grappling match for you, what would that look like? You'd go, oh, I'd pass around their legs, get to side control, isolate an arm, and do like a joint lock. Okay. I would focus maybe on takedowns. So you could focus on wrestling depending on your group.
One specific takedown,
Yeah.
by the way.
Yeah, having an element of focus. Same thing with guard passing. And then maybe like a pin maintenance, getting arms away from the body, like getting like a figure four grip, and then focus on the mechanics of finishing Kimuras. And then every labor you do, then you go back through your live match going, okay, how much better is my wrestling game? And then how much better is my guard passing game?
That'd be a cool
and
way to
things
do
like
it.
that. And go through, because eventually then you get this whole A game flow path.
I think you have to zoom in further too, the
Yeah.
more advanced your training partners are. Because,
Yeah.
like, if we were in a room full of black belts and you and I were the only ones who weren't black belts in that room,
Yeah.
my labors wouldn't go from knee cut. They would go from, can I get one little thing?
I was going to say
You know?
it'd be more like micro focuses.
Yes. Can I get
Yep.
an underhook regardless of the outcome after I get the underhook?
Yep.
Or can I get shin to shin guard for a second?
Yep.
Does that work? Or can I get 2-on-1? Can I grab a 2-on-1?
Versus a completion of a phase.
Yeah. And then
It's like
after
little achievements, yeah.
yeah, if you're really good at always getting your 2-on-1, then you'd be like, dude, this is okay. I got this.
And
Like,
maybe that's good for an advanced person. If you feel like you're going against an advanced person, maybe if you have those like micro goals where you're like, if I can just get that on something, maybe I won't complete a single leg, but if I can just secure
just
their
get
leg,
the leg.
like
Just get.
that's already a win in that element. But
I think so.
if you're going against someone who's like less experienced than you, like Matt said, if it's very easy to get the leg, well, now it's see how easy it is to finish it. But I think having some sort of game plan forward, maybe that's what we were just talking about with fundamentals of Levi or Matt. What could we focus on that are like the fundamental core things? And we had an episode a while ago about talking like the highest percentage submission holds and things like that. I think there's elements to that where like you have some good starting points. I've always made the comment of red oak seedlings, things that like will scale with your grappling development. So versus, hey, I want 50 buggy chokes or something like that, or
Or
50
under
whatever.
overpasses
Yeah.
or over underpasses in the no-gi.
Yeah.
That's what I had
I guess
ran
it just
into.
depends because I think your idea of labors is having this long-term development, right?
Yes.
Having this focus because I think a lot of people, especially
Pick the S tier moves.
once they're done with white belt or a little bit with blue belt, people tend to jump around with a lot of like
Ooh.
buffet options.
Here's a thought though too. 20 of something is short enough too that if you're curious, just do it. Because by the end of that 20, you'll know whether you got some mileage out of it or not. You'll
Yeah.
learn right away.
Yeah.
Like Aaron was stuffing my over under passes when I was experimenting with that. And he didn't know a specific technique. He just literally pushed my head away and I was like, that didn't work.
So how do you manage, let's say during the leg weave pass? Like you and I played a little bit yesterday of we were like breaking down strategies and different options and things like that. Do you suggest people with their labors having more classroom settings with their labors, like to grab a partner or to find time to just slow poke at it?
I think it's got to be a live drill.
But then it's like a post analysis of it, like to go, why was this not working type of thing?
I think,
Versus like
yeah.
hitting the door over and
Oh,
over
yeah,
and
no,
over
you
again.
should, if you're not getting it, then
'Cause
you
I
should
think it
definitely
helped a lot with you
reevaluate.
and me yesterday. You were
Yeah.
sitting here just experimenting it, but that would have never happened unless like you were deciding to try a different key every single time before a roll.
I think, like, at least the way I notice I've been getting the most mileage out of learning jiu-jitsu, I just have to keep trying it over and over again. And I think after, it sounds silly. I think people just don't want to feel dumb.
Yeah.
But like sometimes I'll try something like 10 times
Yeah.
and like every time someone who is like lower ranked, I'm using air quotes because whatever.
Yeah.
But like they're like, I've been doing jujitsu longer than them, stuff it. And it's something weird where I'm trying, I wonder if I could sickle sweep from this spot. And then I try and it's just, nope, they grab my top leg, smash me to the ground. Okay, what if I tried 10 times to see if it was a fluke? Nope, wasn't a fluke. That's a bad spot to do a sickle sweep in.
Yeah.
And then I learn that sucks and that I have to try some other things,
Well,
not
I
that
think-
sickle sweeps suck. Those are cool.
Like we were saying, I think there's a good mix of going through things and playing with it and being burned a couple times. And I think there's also a good mix of, let's say, Jordan, for example. Hey, Matt, every time you're shooting for this, I'd want you to keep your back straight or whatever. And you're like, oh, I wasn't even thinking about that.
Yeah.
And now suddenly, like, something is dramatically different. So I think there's a good back and forth of experimenting with things, getting little concepts and tricks, but it shouldn't be like something that like walks you through the whole thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's more like you're gonna have a lot more success, like what Jordan was talking about before, like with single legs. He was like, just drive through the single leg as if the leg isn't there. And it was like, oh, that's a interesting conceptual thought that isn't like running through this person every technical little movement of the
It's
like the perfect
Well, if we
pathway
were in
to leg
karate,
weave.
you punch through
Punch through it.
the
Yeah, that's what I was
pad.
thinking about it. But that makes a lot more sense versus like, all right, I'm gonna give you 8 steps to the perfect leg weave pass.
Yeah.
To go, here's a concept
It's a great
that
Instagram
helps me,
video.
and then you can go and play with and experiment with it. And you're like, oh yeah, I can really lean into it. Yeah, that's a very efficient way people do it.
I dig it.
Me
So,
too.
anyways, folks, that's the labors system. And I hope it's helpful for you. I'm going to keep experimenting with it. Maybe I'll give an update in a year of like.
Should they have a notepad or something where maybe like after
Oh,
classes they can?
I put it in my phone on my Apple Notes.
Okay.
And if you use the checkbox function or like the check circle, it'll actually, I counted out 20 dots and I just put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 right next to them. And then you just tap it and it moves it to the bottom of your list is what you can, or you can set it to not do that. But that's just what I use because I think Apple Notes works great for a lot of stuff. And then that way you can just pull out your phone after class, go tap, I got 3 today. Cool. And then you move on. If you forget how many you got, I just do 1.
Plus, I think with the labors, I think it's a really cool way to see how much you've improved, to show that, oh, I've got like 100 knee slices or whatever. That's cool.
That is cool.
You're seeing legit successes, like how many times you've successfully done that.
How can you not be better at guard passing?
And it's not something where,
after that.
where you're marking like failures.
No, you're just successes.
Yeah, all your
That's
successes.
true. That's a good
it's all
point.
positives at that point. Like you only mark it once you've succeeded.
And there's
at that
no
point.
time frame on these either. You just
Nope.
keep working at it.
But
it
I
takes
will-
you 10 months. Who
I
cares?
will say most people I've seen that run into not being good at something is not having the ego to ask for help too. So if you are truly like falling into a weird pit where you're like, I just can't break through this barrier, ask for help. Ask with a training partner maybe that you're going against that's making it difficult for you. Ask a coach, instructor, go to YouTube, ask questions if you're like truly lost. at
Jiu-jitsu
that
people
point.
love talking about jiu-jitsu. So just asking somebody, I feel like they're going to be like, I got you, dude.
No, I
I
still
love it
remember
when
that
people
one
ask
guy
me
that
questions.
tapped my friend out, and my friend was like, "Oh, it's so cool. How'd you do it?" And he goes, "I'm not telling you.
That's the sign of a not very good jujitsu
I'm not
player.
gonna tell you my secrets. All right, keep your secrets then."
That's such a. What if his instructor had that thought?
Yeah, I'm not gonna tell you. I think because of the
That sh-
instructors getting paid to give their ancient secrets away,
yeah,
but it's something where
it's not like he asked for an entire like training plan.
I
It's
know,
like,
but
show me
just like,
one
I'm not
move,
gonna
dude.
show you. Well, because some schools like they have it where it's like they're just holding on to that buoy is the only thing keeping them from drowning. And they're like, I'm not gonna tell you because if you stop it, that's the only thing I had.
This isn't
And it's
like
like,
feudal
ugh.
Japan where if you know something and somebody doesn't, like you crush them. I feel like if you just anything's videotaped, you just go, oh, that's what it was.
I think that's crazy that I still hear with jiu-jitsu schools of like I had an experience with this, and I'm not naming names, but it was like you can't go over there because you're teaching our techniques. Like we don't want you teaching our techniques.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did you invent the Kimura?
Yeah, exactly.
Like
But it was almost like they're getting
the people own jujitsu.
like the high level stuff.
Yeah.
And trust me, it was not high level stuff that they had, but it was just like a that it was legit. It was a written thing to me. It was like you're teaching our stuff, and I was wow.
I wonder how that'd hold up in court, bro.
Yeah, I'm like, trust me, jiu-jitsu is not something
Kimura,
that's like
TM.
yeah.
Wait, sorry, we do the theory Kimura here.
You
TM.
copyrighted my
Yeah.
hey, Matt, show me that move one more time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, it's illegal for
Yeah.
you to do that move.
So this is the mat. That's the changing room. That's our
Yeah.
copyright lawyer.
Yeah, copyright lawyers.
Yeah.
You grab something, you go to him right away.
Yeah.
You
He sits here with a
copyright that.
camera.
Yep. And then you record it quick and grab
Yep.
it. Which is
Yep.
oh my gosh, that's like such a
We have the twisting shoulder lock, it's called. That looks a lot like a Kimura. You
No,
would
it's
think
not.
that,
You'd
but there's
think.
3 differences that make it legally not a Kimura.
like knockoff cereal stuff where it's
Yeah.
like, oh, Captain.
This seems like a multi-meal thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dr. K.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
That's-
But it was just weird. I felt like a very 1980s like martial arts things where it's like, you can't go over there because you're showing our like deadly secrets and we can't have them having our deadly secrets. And I was like, oh my gosh. Trust me, there's such an open source of world jiu-jitsu. Matt said everyone loves talking and sharing, but be able to do it. The worst thing is to sit here struggling by yourself and not wanting to look like an idiot, like asking a question. Guess what? We're all
idiots.
there.
We're all idiots.
Constant.
Yeah.
It's
I still
all
am an
time.
idiot.
Yeah.
Like, haven't grown out of it.
That's how you'll succeed. Boy.
Boom. All right. We got to get ready to train.
Go play
Levi?
God of War 2 or go play God of War. It's a fun game. If
Where
you're an
can-
adult.
Yes. Not children appropriate. So where can people find us?
TheGrapplingPodcast.com.
Also, where else?
Social media?
Yeah, tell them everywhere.
Facebook, YouTube, everywhere.
You're a
We'll
marketing
probably
department?
no, I'm not the marketing department. You'll probably see billboards someday. That's
Mhm.
going by us. All the fun things. So with this wrapping up with season 2, we'll be focusing on another topic coming up soon. We got the holidays coming up, so we'll see what we have for possible filmings. But Matt and I discussed earlier, we're doing it very passion-based. So
Yeah.
if we have the time and energy and the topic, we'll get around to it. But if you have a topic that you're like, oh my gosh, this would be amazing to discuss, you can let us know in the comments. You can message us, email us, contact us, and Matt and I can discuss
How do
it.
they email us?
info@thegrapplingpodcast.com.
Yeah.
We'll email you.
Yeah. Yeah. Send us your email.
Send
and
us
then
your
we
email.
will email. We should make a newsletter.
Oh, we could do that too.
Okay. But
newsletter as well.
that
Have the
brings
things
up a
up
good
there.
point. If you have stuff if you want us to talk about something, let
Yep.
us know. And yeah, we try to stay subscribed because even though we're not going to be busting out episodes every week, our whole theory behind it is that we just want to be respectful of everybody's time and we don't want to make content just to make content. So if you see an episode come up, that means we have a topic we actually were passionate about and we wanted to talk
We
about.
also have 50 plus episodes too. That
Yeah.
were some pretty good episodes. So if you want to go play and look at that, it's great. All right. Cool guys. We'll see you later.
Bye.